All right, let's get into a story that is, well, it's deceptively simple, but it might just completely change how you look at your own life. We're going to unpack the fable of the crow and what it has to teach us about something we all fall into, the comparison trap. You know that feeling, that little nagging voice that says, "Hey, look over there, they have it better." If you've ever felt that kind of dissatisfaction, then this story is absolutely for you, because it all starts with a little bird who felt exactly the same way. So meet our main character. This crow wasn't just having a bad day, he was completely miserable. He honestly felt like nobody loved him. People would just shoo him away. He hated his black feathers, he pretty much hated everything about his life, and he had really hit rock bottom. Yeah, that's how bad it was. He truly believed his life was pointless. And as he's sitting there, crying on a tree branch, a wise old monk, who happens to be sitting below, hears him and decides to step in. The monk looks up at the crow and says, "You know what? I can make you into anything you want to be." Well, the crow is thrilled. He thinks, "This is it. This is my way out." But of course, there's a catch. The monk has just one condition. The crow, without even a second thought, says, "I want to be a swan. You know, beautiful, graceful, white as milk." The monk says, "Okay, deal. But first, you have to go find a swan and ask it if it is truly the happiest bird in the world." And just like that, the crow's quest begins. And so the search is on. The crow flies off, completely convinced he's about to find the secret to true happiness, starting with the one creature he admires most. So the crow finds a swan, just gliding so elegantly on a pond. And he basically projects all of his hopes and dreams onto this bird. He sees those stunning white feathers and just assumes that the beautiful outside must mean total joy on the inside. He's so sure he's found the answer, but he's about to get a big surprise. And here's where perception and reality just completely split apart. The swan tells him, "Happy? No, I'm not happy at all." Turns out, the swan feels totally plain, boring even, just one color. "If you want to see a really happy bird," the swan says, "go find a parrot. Now that bird has some amazing colors." Okay, so the crow flies off to find a parrot, and when he does, what happens? He does the exact same thing. He sees all those vibrant, flashy feathers and immediately thinks, "Wow, you must be the happiest bird alive." He's just swapping one idea of perfection for another one. But again, the reality is so much darker. The parrot explains that its beauty is actually a curse. It lives in constant, gut-wrenching fear that some human is going to see it, catch it, and lock it in a cage for the rest of its life. "I am not happy," the parrot says. But the peacock, he is magnificent. He must be the happiest. And this, of course, brings us to the climax of the whole story. The crow is still chasing this phantom of happiness, and now he's off to find what he thinks is the most beautiful, most celebrated bird of them all. The crow makes his way to a zoo, and sure enough, he finds the peacock. The scene is exactly what you'd imagine. I mean, hundreds of people are gathered around, just staring, totally mesmerized by this peacock's incredible feathers. To the crow, this has to be it. This is the peak. This is happiness. So the crow waits until the crowds finally leave, and then he goes up to the peacock. And what the peacock tells him is the most shocking thing he's heard yet. He says this beauty, this thing that everyone comes to see, it's the very reason he's a prisoner here. And then it gets even worse. The peacock tells him that people actually pluck out its beautiful feathers to use them for decorations, and it causes incredible pain. So here he is, trapped, admired, and in pain, all because of the very thing the crow wanted so badly. You can just imagine the crow's mind is blown. The swan isn't happy, the parrot isn't happy, and now not even the magnificent peacock is happy. So it all comes down to this one question, which the crow asks the peacock directly. Then who is? And this is when the peacock delivers the final mind-bending truth. He tells the crow, "You know, I've sat here and I've watched all the birds in this zoo, and you, the crow, you are the only one that nobody ever tries to catch and put in a cage. You are free. If I were a crow, I could go wherever I wanted." So obviously, this story isn't really just about birds, is it? Let's break down what this incredible parable is actually teaching us about our own lives and this thing we call the comparison trap. With this totally new perspective, the crow flies back to find the monk. And for the very first time in his life, he doesn't want to be a swan or a parrot or a peacock. He finally understands the incredible value of his own life, his freedom. He's happy just being a crow. You see, what the crow went through is something we all face. It's called the comparison trap. It's that endless, exhausting habit of looking at what other people have, assuming they're happier because of it, and then feeling awful about what we don't have. And let me tell you, it's a game you can literally never win. So, what's the big takeaway here? First, it's about learning to be happy with what you've got, right now, instead of obsessing over what you don't, like that perfect life you see on someone's social media feed. It's also a reality check. There will always be someone with more and someone with less. That's just how life works. And if you get stuck constantly comparing, you're pretty much signing up for a life of unhappiness. At the end of the day, the story shows us that the happiest person isn't the most beautiful or the most admired. It's the one who is genuinely satisfied with who they are. So the whole point of the crow's big journey is this. Chasing after someone else's life or looks or whatever, it's a dead end. Real, true contentment doesn't come from changing into someone else. It comes from appreciating what you already have. It's about recognizing the value, the freedom in your own unique situation. And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. Just like that crow who realized his freedom was his greatest gift, what are the unique strengths or freedoms in your own life that maybe you've been overlooking? And who could you really be if you finally let go and broke free from that comparison trap?